Hello, Yaela. Thank you for taking some time to meet with me. We're going to get into the Alberta Tantra Festival 2026 edition. It's happened before, but there was a break, and now you're revitalizing it. So I know there's a lot of things that people probably want to know about. What is it about? What can they experience? What's the value of coming? We're going to get to that. But I wanted to start with, how did you come to Tantra, and what was it that was going on in your life where this year you decided, I want to make this festival happen?
Okay, awesome. Thank you for having me. Excited about this interview and sharing all the knowledge with the people who are listening. So, how I got to Tantra is, yeah, I have a friend. Her name is Linda. She's one of the facilitators at the festival as well. And I went to her events here in Calgary and I kind of liked what she was doing. I liked the connections. I liked the open-mindedness and the exercises. And 4 years ago, she invited me to join her on a road trip to go to the Heart of Tantra Festival in Squamish, BC. And that was an experience that changed my life.
Hmm.
There was one workshop there. I think it's called Yoga Tantra, Tantra Yoga. I'm not quite sure, but we were dancing, we were moving energy, and at some point my heart just cracked open. I was sitting like laying on the floor, trembling. I felt so grounded and so loved and so ecstatic at the same time. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. That was kind of what shifted me to try to dive deeper into Tantra and learn more about the different practices of neo-tantra versus Tantra. And also my background is in yoga and energy healing. So all these worlds are kind of interconnected.
And that experience, how long ago was that?
About 4 years ago.
Yeah. And now, this year, I assume several months ago, maybe even last year, the initial inspiration happened. Can you tell me a little bit about where the decision to make the event happen this year came from?
It's interesting. It was a calling. I was just driving in my car and I heard a calling that I just need to do that because I wanted to participate in something similar to what I experienced in BC, but it was like so far away. I'm like, I need to bring this to Alberta. It was just kind of, yes, I need to do this. And then I started doubting myself. I'm like, me, I'm not trained in Tantra. I haven't done anything big like this before, but I do have background in project management and I have the ability to create the community to help me do that. In project management, we always say a project manager doesn't need to know everything. They need to have the right people in the right seats to help bring this together. So this is definitely co-creation. I'm not doing this by myself. I feel so supported by the team, by the people that are coming in to help and co-create this. It's just wonderful, the feeling of support and co-creation of this event.
Mm. So one thing I wanted to make sure we got into was, I think the word tantra, uh, is one that most people recognize, but I think what that means to different people changes. Some people might have just heard it in passing and they'd actually have no really idea what it is. Maybe some people have seen like a documentary on, gurus taking advantage of students in a sexual way, and maybe they have an aversion to tantra. And I'm curious for you, like, what would you want to say to people, that some people who love Tantra, who know what it is, who want to be in the kind of space that creates, I think they're going to come anyway. But I think I want to find a way to communicate to a group of people that are looking for a unique experience, the one that you
Mhm.
spoke about, where something moved in you, it changed your relationship with yourself, it changed your relationship about what felt possible around like the vibrance and vitality of life and being able to be in that and receive it and express it. What would you say to someone who maybe has some awareness but doesn't really understand what this event is, or what they might get from attending?
Thank you. That's a really good question. So what we need to understand, there's some differences between the traditional Tantra and the neo-tantra that mostly we're going to practice in this festival. Traditional Tantra is not a lot about sexuality or relationships. It's all about coming back to yourself, your connection with God through meditation practices and yoga practices and different rituals and different uh, deities that you look up to and have relationship with. Neo Tantra is a little bit different. I'm bringing the taste of Neo Tantra to this festival, which is about more about relationships and tools to bring your relationships to a better place. Relationship with yourself, awakening the love and the pleasure and the desire, and opening up your heart. So there's definitely a difference between the two.
Mhm.
And as a heart healer, I work with the heart energy a lot. And my intention for this festival is for people to come and be able to open up their heart and be vulnerable and create connections and be in community. So it's not just about the Tantra or the Neo Tantra, it's about the whole experience of connection, of opening up your heart, of creating in community. So another thing that is really, really important to me is breaking bread, sitting with people over meals, sharing experiences. That's one of the passions in my life. I always create that around myself, potlucks and holidays. And so that's one of the main experiences that people will have at the festival as well is catered meals, shared, shared experiences around food. Yeah.
So I love the distinctions that you're making there, and the deeper traditional tantra is really about a relationship with life. It's about becoming an open channel to receive and to give the energies of life, is a way to think of it. And I think neo tantra at its best still brings that dimension into the equation, but it has more to do with, like you say, like presence, desire, connection, sensuality. What is it that moves in me, that especially I think in a Western culture, and maybe particularly in a Canadian Western culture, there's a kind of flattening of experience. Like, don't be too loud, don't be too
Yeah.
excited, don't be too passionate, don't be too dark. And I think the neo tantra, when done well, this is just from my perspective, it's inviting us to come back into some of those elevated and deeper states, and learn, how do I bring that into my life? How do I bring that into my closer relationships? How do I bring that into the sensual places in my life, so that I'm more there? I can actually be more present to and attuned to what's happening. I can be more in touch with what matters most to me, what I most desire to express or to explore. And one of the other things that I think is going to be on offer at the festival, and I think we'll talk a bit more about this, is I worked with athletes years ago. And one of the reasons you train is because in a competition, there's certain things that will happen in a competition, and they only happen a handful of times, but they're really important. And so
Mhm.
you can, in training, you can focus on those things that only happen a little, like every once in a while in competition. But if you get those big moments right, you are in a way better place than most of the other people there at the competition. And not that sexuality and sensuality are competitive, but the same principle, I think, applies. Like, you think about, how often am I in a quiet, private, intimate space with someone that I can explore connection with? And for some of us, it's very rarely. We actually don't spend a ton of time in that space. Even if we're coupled, even if we have a partner or we're dating, we might be out in public and we might be doing, and then when we come together in closeness and intimacy, that might be just a little fraction of our time, if we actually have people to connect with in that way. And I think the festival, the Tantra Festival, allows us to be in spaces and participate in interactions that might be very rare in our lives. But if we can start to learn how to get those right, if we can start to learn how to be in those moments and express in those moments in a way that we feel deeply fulfilled and satisfied by, think about the kind of difference that makes in our life. So
Yes.
that's one of the reasons I love these kinds of environments and participating in them, and holding space and guiding in them, is we get to practice elements and aspects of life that that are deeply meaningful to us, and that
Yes.
in that, it's an investment to come, your time, you buy your ticket. But I think what we get back from that kind of participation, the kind of learning we bring back to our lives, is absolutely, completely priceless. So I'm
Yes.
just curious your thoughts on that, and anything else you want to say about, yeah, what's on offer at the festival.
100%. So at the festival, I know one of the questions later on you wanted to talk about who is this for? So this festival is for complete beginners and people who have experienced Tantra before, because we're going to take you so slowly and so mindfully deeper and deeper and deeper into the practice. So the way we curated the workshops, we start with an opening night, creating our agreements and creating the safe space. And the second workshop is coming back to your body through dance, through movements, through guided exercises, expressing, feeling, coming back to your heart. That's the first night. And then we have some only women's circles and only men's circle. And then we come back together. We teach you everything you need to know about Tantra, about neo-tantra, about relating, about consent, about um, everything that will go deeper and deeper and deeper into the experience until the last night of the festival is integrating and bringing in all the tools that you've learned throughout the festival into one beautiful connected night, the temple night.
And can you say anything about the temple night? I think we want to keep some of it surprise, but
Yes.
for those that don't know what that is, I have a friend who is involved in play events and sort of sexuality based sort of
Mm-hmm.
learning and development in the Bay Area, and he likes the term play possible. So I think,
Mm,
sometimes these environments where people are potentially going to be sensual and connective, that can feel overwhelming. But what I think is really important to recognize is that in a space like that, there's opportunity to go to, interesting places and explore and play, but at your edge. Like, everyone is encouraged to, and the space is actually curated so that whatever you're looking for in that space, it's
yes,
available. Like, it's safe for someone to literally, it's safe for someone to just be in the space and just be present to what's going on and not participate at all directly. And so, yeah,
exactly.
just to talk a little bit about how we create that temple space so that for people that want to experience something that's deeply alive
Mm-hmm.
and exciting and new, that's available, and no one is ever going to be pressured or, feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's anything that's right for them that wouldn't belong in that space.
Yeah, so throughout the festival, we teach how to put your boundaries, how to recognize your boundaries first, how to communicate your boundaries, how to ask for what you want, and how to say no for what you don't want. And through every workshop at the festival, we will reiterate all these agreements of what are your desires, what are your boundaries, what is your yes, what is your no. And even at the temple night, the first part of temple night will be guided. So we will reiterate the agreements and we will communicate what's possible throughout the night. And yes, I don't want to give too much about what's going to happen, but for this specific festival and for um my own agenda and I want to say
Philosophy.
philosophy is it's going to be fully clothed. So there's not going to be like people having sex on the floor or, you know, naked people everywhere. And yeah, there's going to be different exercises, different sections where you can ask for what you want and give from your heart and create deep, meaningful connections.
Mm. Yeah, and I just want to say, I think some people are in touch with themselves enough to know how and where life isn't quite meeting them, or where their own desire for self-expression or connection isn't being fulfilled. And in that there's sort of an ache, a grief, a longing. And I think this is a beautiful space for that, for us to be in that grief, to be with it honestly, to process it, and also to see, are there ways I'm getting in my own way in terms of letting in the kind of love and connection, or giving the kind of love and connection that would really fulfill me. And I think there's also quite a large group of people that aren't even aware how much more meaning and joy and passion and sort of sensuality could be in their life. And I think this offering is a place where both of those groups can really find something special, where both
Yeah.
of those groups can reconnect with themselves, reconnect with what matters most. I often like to think about, like, in the eyes of a child that feels safe and is in their state of play, there's this awe and this joy that just pours out of them. And it's actually very common. You see it in children all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very common in adults.
Yes.
And I think we live in a world where we think that that's the way it should be. It's just, well, we're
Mm-hmm.
adults now. We don't live that way anymore. And of course, as adults, there are things that we're responsible for that we weren't responsible for as children. And yes, there's something about being an adult where you have to lay some of that down. You can't just, I don't think living in a hedonic state perpetually is the way to go. But I think we sacrifice so much of the real juiciness and vitality of life
Mm-hmm.
in our efforts to try to make our way in a world that isn't even ours, like values and responsibilities that we just sort of took on.
Mm-hmm.
And we forgot about our awe, we forgot about our joy, we forgot about our passion. And this feels like a summer camp for adults, where we
Yes.
get to reconnect with that, come alive in that, see that in others. And hopefully, if we understand the real value of a festival, is that we bring that back to our day-to-day life.
Definitely. That's
Mm.
one of my one of the mission statements is to bring that playfulness, that sense of different experiences that you never get to experience outside of the festival. And I want people to take these experiences and be able to later integrate that into their lives, with themselves, with their partner, with their community, with their kids. So, one of the things I want people to take away is some tools and some experiences that they can take home and implement and integrate into their lives.
Do you feel like you want to speak at all? Like, are there any elements there that you think are going to be on offer that will make a big difference for people that you could speak to? Like, yeah, is there any areas where you think people really tend to get stuck, or areas where there's just common misunderstanding, where coming to the festival and getting to come to the workshops on offer will make a difference there? Does anything come to mind?
Yes, actually, two of your workshops are one of the highlights of the festival is about, first of all, conscious connected touch. I think you had a different name for it, but how to ask for what you want and how to listen, really deeply listen to what your partner is asking from you, even if they're not asking with words. But being able to look in their eyes and look at their body and feel like if that is aligned for them at the moment. So, how to communicate these things? Many people that haven't been in these spaces before, they don't actually know how they want to be touched. They don't actually know how to communicate what they would like to be doing in that moment. So, this is one really, really important workshop that I feel like is going to give tools for people to take home and practice. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
keep going. I'll say one thing since you brought that workshop up. To me, there's two primary places that we abandon ourselves. And one of them is we stop saying yes to the things that matter to us. We stop saying yes to the things that we have, what I call a heart's desire, something deep in our
Mhm.
heart that has a longing to express and experience. It's part of why we're here in a body, is that we're meant to be fully expressed in our heart's desire. And so many of us, for all sorts of, quote unquote, good reasons, stopped saying yes to that heart's desire. It was too much. It was inconvenient. It made a mess. It displaced someone else's sensibilities. We got punished. We got judged. We got, left alone. Whatever happened to us when we were expressing our desire. And at some point, we start to go, oh, my desire isn't safe or my desire isn't welcome. So that's one of the places that we self abandon. The other place that we self abandon is when something is going on and it's not right for us. And because our no wasn't met well, often by
Mhm.
parents or our family, we lose our no. Like, it's actually safer for me to just allow this thing that's not okay with me to happen than to speak up and say, hey, this doesn't feel good to me, or this isn't right, or no, I don't want this, or stop. So
Mhm.
the workshop itself is a chance for us to come back to our body, back to our own deeper intuition, and find our yes again if it's been stifled or silenced. Find our no again if it's been
Mhm.
stifled or silenced. And that, it seems so simple, but hopefully people have a sense that if you've been failing to say yes when that was really true for you, or failing to say no when that was really true for you, the kind of difference it can make in your life when you start to reinstate the rightful yeses and nos. And it cleans our own relationship with ourselves up. We start to trust ourselves again. It cleans up our relationships with the people close to us. It makes so much more possible in our relational
Mhm.
world just by getting more attuned and more committed to feeling our yeses and nos and then expressing them. So that'll be a big part of that workshop.
Thank you. Yes, what's coming to mind is many people say, I need to be healed before I come into these spaces. I need to be healed before I can have a relationship. But for me, this is so much far from the truth because you heal in relationship. You heal when you're met in your truth, when you say no and the person in front of you actually respects that. When you ask for what you want and the person in front of you can actually give it to you from the heart. So this festival, you don't need to be healed. You don't need to be anything. You need to just come as you are with an open heart, with a desire to learn, with a desire to be present, with a desire to create connection. And healing happens through connection.
Mhm.
You don't need to be anything to come to this festival. Just come as you are.
Yeah, and I just want to bring in an element where sometimes the fear is oh, I should be all whole and healed to go. Or if I'm not healed and whole, then I'll have to expose my wounded parts. And I think that is true. I think to heal, we do need to become intimate with our own wounded parts again. And that's why when you have a festival that's held by really experienced facilitators who have a lot of experience working with people that are bringing wounds to the table. It's not that wounding and healing wounds is going to be the primary focus of the
Right.
festival, but I think a festival like this needs to hold well and guide well processes that we know will bring those tender parts to the table. And so just so anyone who's listening knows, it's something that the facilitator team is very much aware of, very much attuned to, and very experienced in guiding and holding. So if you are bringing some tender pieces to the table, know that we're aware that that's the case and that we're going to hold it well and that we're committed to this space that we create together to be safe enough for us to go to uncomfortable places and come back with the things we need to really experience the kind of connection that we've been longing for.
Definitely, 100%. Thank you.
In terms of anything else you would want to say, I know, again, some people have already got tickets, some people are on the fence, some people are just hearing about this for the first time. What would you say to someone who's considering coming but hasn't committed yet? We're a little over a month away from the festival. I'm
Mhm.
really excited about this happening. There's lots of choices people have. I know there's lots of music festivals and things, and those are great. I love those. But this is a unique something. It's not going to be like other events. And I just want to make sure people that would benefit from coming get the opportunity that's at hand, and it's not just another festival.
Yes. So, what I would say to people is when was the last time you really took time for yourself, to honor yourself, to leave the world behind for 4 days and just come back to your heart and everything is cared for? Your meals are cared for. The workshops are so well curated and taking you slowly deeper and deeper into your heart so you can connect with your pleasure, you can connect with your heart, you can connect with your partner. It's definitely unique. I haven't seen anything like that in Alberta. This is why I brought it to Alberta. So people don't have to drive too far to enjoy this kind of experience. It's going to be held in a beautiful ranch in Rocky Mountain House, beautiful sunsets, beautiful people, a very beautiful, amazing team of facilitators that I handpicked to create the most beautiful experience.
Hmm.
So everyone's welcome.
Sounds incredible. Those listening, if you're listening, we'll make sure that the links to get your tickets are easily found. Yaela, again, I just appreciate the work you're putting in. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of the festival. I can't wait to be there. And for those listening again, I hope that you join us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in today.